firm but not forceful. When rulers follow the Tao, they have no need for armies to strengthen their country. Their country is strong because its government is a blessing to all. Briars and thorns spring up wherever an army camps. Great wars are followed by bad harvests. Good rulers are firm, but they dare not take by force. They are firm but not boastful, firm but not haughty, firm but not arrogant, firm but unyielding to the unavoidable, firm but not resorting to violence. When rulers resort to force, things flourish for a time, but then decay. They are going against the Tao, and anything opposed to the Tao will soon die. That's chapter 30 of the Tao Te Ching. And this seems like another chapter that's pretty directly related to the ideas that arose independently in the founding of America. This is something that I think was imprecisely applied in the use of a constitution. There's something to be said, and I've mentioned this before, that putting something that is beyond words into words gets very difficult. The purpose of law is, of course, to figure out a way for us to get along. The proper role of government, the proper role of law is to protect individual rights, to allow each person to pursue their version of happiness and live a successful life. Violence is often perceived as a shortcut. It's a way to get from point A to point B without having to go through all of the compromise and difficult conversations that come along with all human interactions. Think about even just a simple interaction. I'm certain that there is no one who will ever listen to this who has never been in an argument with someone that they love, whether it's a parent, a child, a spouse, a dear friend. Disagreements arise. Now magnify that out to millions upon millions upon millions of people who live in a shared society. For example, 332 or so million people in the United States of America. On the localized level, on a relationship between just two people, violence could seem like a much easier way. It is almost indisputable that by beating the hell out of someone, I can get them to do what I want them to do in the short term. It's certainly a path that many people have chosen to take. We see this in domestic violence. We see this in any number of situations where people have a disagreement and a conflict of visions, to borrow from Thomas Sowell. And what we see unfold is that when we resort to force, things do flourish for a time. Perhaps the task that I had wanted done before I beat the hell out of someone, it gets completed out of fear. But then decay is going to happen. This isn't a peaceful interaction. This isn't productive in the long term. This isn't moving humanity forward. And if we extrapolate that out to the entirety of a civilization of hundreds of thousands of millions of people coming together and try to figure it out, these conflicts don't get smaller. There's no single rule for how to manage them. And in fact, trying to put in rules that are backed up by force rather than firmness result in greater violence. We see this all the time. Eminent domain is an example of taking by force. It's something that involves a, quote, justified use of government force to achieve some sort of shared common end. The result is that each person is less secure in their own personal property, their own personal lives. The decay unfolds perhaps over years, across decades, perhaps even across centuries. A government that is firm on consent of the protection of each person's individual rights has no need for an army, has no need to use force, because that government, and that government only, is a blessing to all.